Why are all kids' rooms boring and beige? They should be whimsical, magical, and full of color, just like childhood. So I decided to lie to you and build my son an entire circus.
She's from New York, and now in Palm Springs. Wow. Watch Courtney build the colorful world of her dreams. And color me spaces, color me spaces.
Every week we give a new room in my Palm Springs house a monochromatic makeover. But a few weeks ago, the villain in me told you a lie. You see, my red guest room and office space from episode 4 with a Murphy bed, ombre bookshelf, and so many quirky, charming touches? Yeah. Because I had a baby. And today I'm going to show you how I built him a circus, designed my own wallpaper, and painted the ceiling, all with a newborn. And just wait until you see all the changes that I had to make, because having a toddler is way more chaotic than having a newborn. In this episode, I'm giving you 2 grand reveals: the newborn nursery and our toddler-friendly circus. You might remember what this room looked like originally when we bought the home. Very bland, very beige, and in need of some major updates. And in episode 4, we gave her a mini makeover and a fresh coat of paint to make her our red room. We've been leaning into color psychology for adult brains, but now we need to understand the psychology for kids too. Originally, I wanted to do a red striped ceiling, but since the color is tied to alertness and energy, it could just be overstimulating for a kid's bedroom. Instead, I'm starting with blue tones that create calm and security, like cerulean blue, and then layering some brighter tones on top. We'll use a primary color palette to bring this maximalist nursery design to life. Let's prioritize wood toys over plastic that double as decor, go wild with giraffes and elephants and bears, oh my. Add balloons, popcorns, and tickets, and create a striped wall and ceiling moment. And since our son's name is Cerulean, who we call Sir, we're building him a Circus. Get it? I went back and forth between painting or wallpapering our stripes and decided to do both, but wanted the white lines of the bookcase to match up with the stripes perfectly, so I had to design my own paper. After a lot of math, I decided the only way to make this work was to design 2 separate papers that, when they lined up, created an overall pattern. Anyone can design, upload, and print their own fabric or wallpaper from Spoonflower. I just made mine in Photoshop, but I would recommend getting a sample printed to make sure that you like the color before you buy all the wallpaper for the whole room. And you should probably do that with all wallpaper. After papering the walls inside the bookcase, now we need to stripe the ceiling, but since it needs to go to a point, our only option is to paint. If you take a sample to your paint store, they can mix you the perfect match, and this looks so good, I don't even think you could tell the difference between the paint and the paper here. The blues we're using here could be classified as cerulean, which means blue sky. It's a vivid, sophisticated color, somewhere between azure and cyan. I love it because no one can seem to agree on its true shade. Millennials might know it as the crayon color that they had in their first box, or from Cerulean City that we see in Pokemon. It was more recently used as a potion ingredient in Agatha All Along, and most famously, it's featured in the iconic monologue in The Devil Wears Prada. It's tied to power, magic, and fantasy while creating this calm feeling of luxury, strength, and security. So it's kind of perfect for a circus for our son, and an added bonus that it's also his name. Having all this storage is the ultimate nursery hack. So we're adding some new knobs to this furniture flip and bookcase. As a Montessori kid, I know how much environment can impact your imagination. That's why we prioritized open-ended wooden toys over plastic. It can double as decor and fuel his creativity. These sweeping blue velvet curtains give it a dramatic flair that helps it feel like a circus. And we're bringing back some red into this room with this rug. But since every circus needs a popcorn machine, this one will double as storage to help fill this corner. I found the perfect chair for the nursing corner and the cutest arch crib. So let's add some felt to the arches to make it pop. Felt just feels so whimsical to me, so I found a few pieces of animal art that are also made of felt. You cannot get into the circus without a ticket. So I found this scallop bulletin board to add different memory moments to, and even decided to design my own ticket and have it printed up for wall art, and one more pop of color. All colors stem from primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. So together they can create a lot of visual contrast and emotion. This is perfect for a circus, but potentially overpowering for a room. We softened it a bit by doing 2 tones of blue before layering over with bits of red and yellow, and breaking it up with a lot of white, wood, and gold tones. But let's see if it creates a nostalgic circus for our baby. First, I'll show you the newborn reveal, and then stay tuned to see which DIYs survived my toddler test 2 years later. Enjoy the circus! Welcome to Cerulean Circus! The whole room centers around this striped pattern that we did on all the walls and on the ceiling to make you really feel like you're in a circus tent. Here in the center of the room, we have the snoo, and this is what he sleeps in. We have this giraffe add-on, which is so cute, and it just kind of matches the whole theme. We also have this blanket that I got for him on Etsy and this red rug, and that's kind of what's going on here in the center. We have this bookshelf built-in because once upon a time, this room was an office and second bedroom, but we've converted it to the nursery. So we really wanted to use this bookcase to display not only his books, but also a lot of toys and fun things like that. This little bear was from his cake, which was actually his first photo shoot that we did when he was a week old, but we were able to seal it so that we could save it forever. This elephant, which was a gift from two famous friends. Clea and Joanna from the Home Edit gave me one of these, and then Chrissy Carlson Romano gave me another one. Tons of color themed books. I wanted to bring some different elements and textures like wood and felt into the room. We have this flying hot air balloons, which if you know me, hot air balloons are one of my favorite things, even though I don't like heights. I mean, like, I'm not afraid of them. I don't need to go up there. I'm short. I belong on the ground. One of the best things about this bookcase is there's a ton of storage. So I could be a total mess behind those cabinets and no one has to know. And on this last bit of the bookshelf, you'll find more books, especially some written by Joy. She wrote these really cute book series and gave them all to Cerulean and signed them. I love a signed book. Paris, I don't know if you know this. It might freak you out.
It's from It.
Yeah, you knew that.
Why would you put that in our son's room?
I didn't think anyone would know. It goes with the theme. I searched red balloon lamp, and this
That
is
is
what I found.
clownish behavior.
Did a lot of Montessori toys. I was a Montessori kid. I'm very excited to get to the age where we have toys because he's not really interested in them right now. But I wanna buy all the toys. For him, of course, not for me, for him. This book, which is a gift from our friends Kelly, Jeff, and Arlo. Cerulean is gonna have so many books. He's gonna be so well read, and I'm excited about it. Over here in the corner, next to the bookcase, we have some velvet curtains, and these keep all the light out, but I also feel like they continue the circus theme. Down here, we have this elephant rocking chair. So like I said, you'll see a lot of giraffes in the room, but also a lot of elephants because they're my favorite animal. Maybe we should do a tally to see if there's more giraffes or more elephants. Probably more elephants because I designed the room. And right next to it, we have this little clothing rack where I've displayed some of like my favorite of his outfits, like the Color Me Baby jacket. Of course, we got a little custom cerulean sweater in cerulean blue. It's not lapis, it's not turquoise, it's cerulean. Moving on to the nursing corner. Here we have this amazing yellow rocking chair, which is just so perfect for the room. And I kind of had this idea of wanting a yellow chair and really design the space around it. So I was so glad that I could find this one. There's a little side table here, and it's kind of gold rings for like 3-ring circus. Behind me, you'll see a floor lamp, and we kind of got that because it looks like a balloon in like a little minimalistic chic way. We want it to be over the top, but also want it to be a little bit elevated, and I don't know, I feel like we achieved it. We have his changing table, and we added this little blanket that was a gift from my friend Taryn. She also made this blanket for him, and they match the room perfectly. I love how they look here. We have some custom art that we did for the room, printed out on foam core and kind of X-Acto knifed it out so it felt like an actual ticket. We also did this bulletin board, and here has that same circus ticket design. So over in this corner, we have a purposeless popcorn cart. Well, actually there is one small purpose. There is storage here where I have like extra diapers and wipes and things. Like I was trying to make it functional so that I could like create this illusion that I had a reason for the popcorn cart, but I really just wanted to buy a popcorn cart. This room is heavy on build-ins, but this one does have a purpose. It's actually a Murphy bed, and it has some storage on the side. So here we have more books, more storage in these drawers. We added some gold lucite hardware here just to elevate it a little bit. And the hardware just makes it easier because if you're holding a baby and you have to open a drawer, it's really hard to like do it without hardware, which is something I've learned. Let's go past the Murphy bed that we could pull down when guests come to visit. Here is another little storage area, more photos. I love these striped frames. They just felt very circusy, and I bought them very early on in designing. We have this crib that will move into the room. The crib was brown, so we did a little DIY by adding this yellow felt, and it just makes it pop to add more color. It also kind of ties back to the themes of using felt and wood in this room. I really like how these 3 semicircles line up with the build-in of the Murphy bed. Perfect. There's a lot of really cool elements in this room, but probably my favorite has to be the ceiling. Look up. So this room is a combination of wallpaper and paint, where all the walls are a custom wallpaper that I designed, and then the ceiling is a custom paint job to match. Perfect world, it would have been easier to just wallpaper the ceiling, but because I wanted it to create that tinted effect, all the stripes had to start really big and then get really small as they section in to the light. But I think it looks really good. I designed this room to make it feel like a circus, but what I didn't know at the time is that Cerulean loves stripes. And so now when he comes in here, he just looks around and is so excited about all the stripes. So what do you think of the newborn nursery? I hope 1 month postpartum Courtney gave you the grand tour. But since rooms are meant to evolve, we've made some changes. I bought a few new items for the nursery that fit the toddler lifestyle, and some need a coat of paint. Let's do white on this bookcase so it blends in with our build-in. For this, we can add our primary colors here for vibrancy. Welcome back to the circus. Step right up and I'll show you what we've changed.
I'm happy you're back with another episode, because this really is the greatest show. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's like one of the best movie musicals. Lori and I watch it like once a week.
I know, I'm aware. I've seen it a trillion times.
It's so good. It's the greatest show. So this room has become more about play than sleep. So we moved the crib out to have more room for activities. But activities mean potential for like head bonks. So one of the first things we did was switch out the rug. We found this like really plushy blue rug, and I love this so much. I actually own 3 of them. 1 in the living room, 1 in our New York apartment, and then this is number 3 because it's so big and squishy. It's really great if you have a toddler who's kind of learning to walk. It makes for comfy adult naps too, don't you think?
Yeah, it's definitely coming in handy. Not even just for the naps, but just like when he's like, come over here, crawl over here, do this, do that. You don't have to crawl on tile, like my knees hurt, my back hurt.
Millennial parent approved. The room is obviously filled with books because the whole thing is a giant bookcase, but Cerulean can't reach those books. And now that he's really into reading or having us read him a story, we wanted to create a little mini library for him so that he can grab the books he wants us to read and shove them in our face, which he often does. Paris is reading to him every night, and he's really liking these like mini golden books. What does he say when he reads this book?
He always thinks that Wade and Amber are mom and dad, and I'm like, that's an upgrade. I normally get Flynn Rider, and I don't look nothing like
that.
Flynn
Is
Rider.
true. Anytime he sees Flynn Rider, he says, Dada, I like Ember. So I love that he thinks I'm Ember. That's very cool. Favorite gift that we can get is if anyone gives us a book and they sign the inside and just leave a little note so that when we read him the book, we can also read him the note. That's like my favorite thing. So if you're ever looking to get me or Cerulean something, we like books. We're also very into music, specifically the Coco soundtrack is a big favorite. So we got this little Apple Home Mini, and I love that it's in yellow so that we could shout out commands for what music we want to listen to. And over here, we have some stuffed animals, another favorite of Cerulean. He brings me a stuffed animal to bed pretty much every night. Often he brings me 2 stuffed animals. It's usually Pua, who he calls Pig, but sometimes it's Red Panda, sometimes it's Elmo, sometimes it's Moana. We have lots of stuffed animals, including some that we've gotten from different trips that we went on. They gave him this in Mexico City. I didn't kind of realize that when you travel with a baby, so often they will give you presents, but there's like a Donald Duck here somewhere that we got on a Disney trip. People are just always giving him gifts, which is very sweet. These are very common, but they're usually square, and I love that we found this like circle one because it kind of fits with the circus theme and a lot of the round things that we have going on not only in this room, but just also in the house. So I did consider painting it, but since there's so much color coming from all the stuffies, I didn't think it needed it, and I just left it brown.
Do you have a favorite stuffy of his? Like, who's your favorite?
Pua! I also really like this Pegasus one that Soy gave him because it was actually her stuffy, and I feel like that's so special that she like passed it down to him. Over here, we removed the changing table and just did some rearranging in this space, putting our rocking chair here, and you may remember all of the decor we have. But this is new. Since Cerulean is still too little to reach for toys in the bookcase, we wanted to give him something that he could have access to. So this little rotating case is where we store some of his toys, some stuffies, things that he could just reach for. Love that this rotates so that he could spin it around and find new things to play with. But to add a pop of color to this little bookcase, we just painted these. We used the same paint that we did on the ceiling of this room for the dark blue and this light blue here so that it would match perfectly. He's also very obsessed with cleaning. He always will wake up chanting mop, mop, because he wants his mop. So we got him this little cleaning stand where all the things can stay organized and he can easily grab. I think it's really important for kids to have a little bit of a toy rotation just so that it doesn't get overwhelming. We will display some toys here while others are in storage, and then after a few weeks, switch them out. So he always has something new to play with, but we're not always buying new things. We've also added some toys that we've found along different journeys that we've taken as a family together. We got this little truck with blocks in Mexico City, and it's one of his favorites to play with. I don't think he knows it's from Mexico City, but we do. So I like buying toys from different places, especially if they're handmade. We're still loving wood toys for him. So we have some that are pretty much always here on this little carpet, and we are still using the popcorn machine for storage. I think there's swim diapers in here now. Another toy he loves is
his paintbrush.
The paintbrush. Yeah, this is just like an easy parenting hack. We will bring this everywhere and he will just paint the walls. No paint required, no water required, just.
You have to be careful though, because sometimes the paintbrush he wants to like, let me just brush this on your face.
Yeah, he tries to put it on your face. It's dirty.
Yeah.
Don't put it on your face. He put it in my mouth once. And back in this corner, we moved the ottoman from our nursery chair and added this amazing Circus quilt that my friend Christy made. She even sells quilt kits in case you want to make your own, which would be so special to add to your own nursery. Cerulean likes to use these for little fake picnics with fake food, so it's a fun thing to have here in the space. After spending like over a year with this space, I really love having this bookcase. It's so nice to have all of the toys on display, and we can switch it out depending on what he's into. Like this hat, which was the only thing that I kept of my brother. We have it on display because Cerulean is currently obsessed with Goofy. And then to commemorate his first trip to Disneyland, we got this little silhouette, which now is on display in the bookcase. And for his Disco Boogie Wonderland party, everyone signed this little record, which we can also have on display. This giraffe that was originally here still lives here, out of reach from Cerulean, so that's why it gets to be here. But we added this that Keiko got for us when she went to Japan. It's a little vintage tambourine. My dream is to be a tambourine girl in a band, and oh look, there's an elephant. We've also added a few toys from other adventures, a lot from our Mexico City trip, which was kind of like our first big trip, I would say, with him. Well, I guess that's not necessarily true. We went to Epic Universe before that. We went to Hawaii before that. The kid is well traveled. We added some first visit pins. We still have a lot of photos, including this really special one that was taken by my friends at White Rabbit. We're really loving puzzles just as much as we love books. So anything like that just lives here on display in the bookcase so that we can play with it, because that's really what this room has become. all about play. When I first shared this room, a few people were concerned that maybe the baby would be overstimulated with all the stripes, but that actually hasn't been the case. It's been really fun to grow up and play in here. He loves all the colors and designs, and I feel like it's just created a little bit of a magical haven that he can have here at home. Thanks so much for visiting us here at the circus. I hope you had a wild time. Thanks for running away with me to the circus today. I can't wait to hear what you think of the space. We only have a few more room reveals left on the show, so be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode of
Color me spaces.
Bye!
Color me spaces.